Hey, what's going on guys? Hope all you are doing. Welcome to a new video tutorial from iPinus. Today I'm gonna have a really nice topic that I've been excited about for a really long time to show you that topic and try explain it. It is regular expressions, or short for Regex. Regular expressions, we're gonna talk about them today, why they are very important for you as a web developer or as any developer out there. Wanna get into the field or wanna master things out. Regular expression is such a really nice thing, and it's such an advanced topic that you can use to parse data, text matching, any data matching or data set matching for large data or for complicated patterns and stuff like that. We're gonna talk about it briefly in that video tutorial. Also, we're gonna give us a very basic introduction on it so you can get started with it very quickly. Also, we're just gonna give it very simple examples like parsing or matching emails, phone numbers, and IP addresses and stuff like that are very common between developers and stuff like this. So let's first start by what is Regex or regular expression. So regular expression is a pattern. It's a pattern describing a certain amount of text, which means a text can be anything. Could be a digit, special characters, could be strings, stuff like that, or a single character, set amount of strings. Could be also a large data set of special characters and data and I don't know, characters and stuff like that, all of them complicated like this. Also, it can be composed like a certain amount of pattern. Let's say there's an email address or a phone number, and it's actually use it for text parsing and data validation. So if you're let's say submit an email and you wanna validate or say if that email is a valid email address or it's not, it's wrong, so you use a Regex to do that. What's most or well known for that particular job. It does the validation very quickly and very successfully of it. Also, it's available for all programming languages, so if you're intending to go for data science or web development or desktop applications, anything like that, Regex is available for you. You can use it for any project like that. And since it's very important for your application, so you need to use it, especially now we are in 2018 or modern web application and modern application from now on need to use Regex for sure. So for example, you can use Regex to validate, as I've said, emails or phone numbers, and it has specific keywords used for that validation. So take it a special programming language where you use something I don't know, a /w to reference or say match a word, or / and a d to make it reference a digit and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things or a lot of special characters to use on that in order to tell it to reference such a pattern or such, I don't know, a special character or digits or word, something like that. Yeah, it does that specific thing, so you can match set of characters and patterns and strings like this. So it could be anything, words, numbers, and special characters. Also, well, why that is important, why it is very important for me to Regex. I can just go ahead and do not have a headache of using Regex and learning it from scratch. Well, let me tell you something. Regex is very important for you. It's gonna just make your life way much more easier. If you think learning Regex gonna make your life harder, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. So you're just gonna need to go ahead, take Regex, 1-2 courses, start making or start practicing by doing examples, very basic one actually. Start with very basic things and move on. You're gonna find yourself really loving Regex and just gonna you can't wait to use it in any web project or any project you commit out there. So it's very nice. In most cases, yes, because a lot of times you need to parse a specific text pattern, especially when you have a complicated text pattern. So you need, or you definitely need to use Regex. Also, there's let me talk about the Regex pros and Regex consequences. For the parse, you can parse any text pattern, whether it's complicated, simple, very large data sets, very complicated special characters and stuff like that. You can do it Regex, but this is gonna be very complicated depending on how much the text you wanna, or the pattern you wanna parse and validate, complicated. So make sure to do that, or make sure to make sure what you're actually doing. You can validate and make sure that data is right before submitting anything to the database. If you're working with databases and stuff, this is a very important step for you. Also, you're gonna just give your code a superpower. So if you can just use a code with a Regex and a code without Regex, and you just take the differences between them, the code using Regex or the code has regex included in, it's just gonna have like a very super special power stuff like that. Now let's take a closer look on the cons. It's gonna be just overkill to using it for parsing everything. Let's say you wanna parse like for this is gonna be like an integer or a number, and you use a regular expression. That will just be overkill. You can use a lot of other simple ways and fast way, even faster than regex. You can use just regex for complicated tasks, and tasks only required from regex to be like used for this particular task. So just use like this. Also, it's hard to understand from the first look, so if you have like a really long regex expression or regular expression, and it's just gonna like this expression does the parsing for such a like string pattern or something like this, it's gonna be very hard for you if you take a look from the first time. You need to read through it, take or like divide it into like simple parts, so you can take each part down and try to understand each part alone and stuff like that. So yeah, it's gonna be very hard for you to understand and all of it at once. Also, it can get very complicated on large patterns. So if you have a lot of data sets or large complicated pattern composed of a lot of things, yeah, it's gonna be very hard for you to create regex or either understand the regex for that particular thing. Moving on, we have do not use regex for anything. So this is like an exclamation is warning thing. So he's warning you about you shouldn't use regex for any task out there. So while you can use regex for any operation in your application, that requires data parsing or matching, because sometimes you might have a lot of data sets using regex for a lot of it at once. So makes it looks even harder for you to manipulate. Say you have a lot of data you want to manage using like regex, that much of things on your application, gonna make it way much more harder than just gonna solve you some task or complicated things. It's just gonna make your life even harder if you use it the wrong way. So make sure to do everything right with regex and just make it simple as possible. Also, there's a quick notice in here. Use normal string parsing methods on simple case scenarios. So we was talking about like validating 10-digit number. It doesn't really require from you to use regex in this particular case, since you can use something like built-in programming languages, or let's say built-in JavaScript, the parseInt method for parsing or telling this is an integer rather than this is string and this is like stuff like that, or this has a 10 digits, rather than just going ahead and using regex right out of the box. You can use a very simple and uncomplicated and just very fast and quick to use methods rather than regex, as I've said. So make sure to do that before going ahead and just using regex out of nothing. Here's like a very quick example of regex, how we would like this. This is a regular expression for parsing. I think this is gonna be like parsing in emails. You can see the @ sign in here. This is mainly because of parsing the email. So this is how we would like a regular expression. This is how mainly look like. It might look like a very terrifying and you're afraid of it and you can't understand anything of it, but it's very simple thing. And as I've said, it's very enjoyable to work with. So let's just get started and see some examples with regular expressions. So here we are, we're gonna just take a look on a very quick examples and try to make the regular expression that are gonna match this particular data sets and patterns like we have in here in email. We have a phone number, like a different case scenarios of phone numbers. Also we have an IP address and a valid date, so you can like match and say this is a valid date or this is not a valid date. The website I'm using in here, I'm not using any application or anything like a code editor or something like that. I'm using a website called regexer.com. So Regexer is a very nice website. I use it almost anywhere on my, whenever I try to solve some pattern using regular expression, I just come here and start testing out and put my data or the string I want or the pattern I want to achieve using Regex, and I try to test on it from the expression up here in this field and try to nail it and to successfully achieve that. So this is a really nice thing. You should come here whenever you try to get Regex. So I'm gonna use it in here for this particular examples. Also, what I like about this website, it has like a reference to the basic Regex commands and like the characters you use it to patch or to match or parse a specific literals and strings and text, so like digits and words and uppercase and all of that. Also, it has a cheat sheet. You can use it right out of the box in here if you're just gonna make your life way much more simpler. So we're just gonna tell you, I'm gonna use that, or I'm gonna like put it alongside the code we're gonna work in order to make you understand better what we are doing over here. So let's just start by parsing this very simple phone number. So for the phone number, if you take a look on the character classes in here, what you can say, there's like the / or the backslash. So as you can see here, this or any regular expression start a type in between a /. So it starts by a / and ends with a /, and here there's some kind of flags. So you don't really need to know about them. You always need to put the G, and the M or the G stands for the global, and the M stands for the multi-line. Global means match anything on that string. So this is like a string thing. So you're gonna match everything. If you try to remove this global, you're just gonna match the first line. Also the multi-line gonna allow you also to like match multi-line. So just or you can put it from the flags in here. Just go to the multi-line and global, and you are ready to go. Now for the or the \W select, or this is gonna just match for word. The other one, the D, digits, and this is a white space. Also for the uppercase ones, just not word, not digits, and not space. So, or not white space. The uppercase letters for the W, D, and S, they won't match this, so you can use that. That means do not match a white space, or do not match a digit. So if you can find a digit, that will be wrong. It won't match that, and your expression will fail matching this. So as I can said, or as I've said, this is a very nice way to learn regular expression just by using the cheat sheet in here. So let's just go ahead and do this phone number. So phone number, what we have is like digits, and in here, if you can just count, there's 2 and 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So we have 10 digits, like a normal phone number, and also there's like a phone number with a country code. So like a +01, then the rest of the number in here, so you can match also the plus with it and stuff like that. So as you can see, we use the digits, so a back or a backslash and a D, that will allow us, as you can see, it matches every single number. We don't care about that because we're going to use this later on, but for now we have this phone number in here. So as you can see, it's just taking and matching everyone, or every single digit in there on the string. So if you can take a look, closer look in here, you can see like between those numbers there's a gap or white gap. That means it's not matching this as string. Each one, it's matching it separately, and we don't want this. We want them to match the whole string together, not each character separately. So to do that, we go ahead and use the plus. So if you can use the plus, the gap just disappears from that. If you can take a look on the plus, what it does, so go all the way down, as you can see, there's up, like wildcard, a plus, and there's the question mark. So the plus means one or more, which means if we here try to use a word or a digit, whatever, so you put in here, that means one or more of that thing that you have put it before this. So anything in here, that plus means one character or more characters of that thing that you have put it before the plus sign. So here, let's say we've put it like, I don't know, an N. We try to match one N character if we find or more characters. So if you find more N characters, just try to find that, else it's just gonna use or match only one. So here we use the, as you can see, reference D, and we use the plus to match everything. So here, but as you can see, it doesn't like match as the plus sign at the beginning, so it just discard this. We want this, I want to take the plus as well. So to take the plus, we can also tell it to take the plus. So for using a normal plus, as you can see, we can't use the plus character because this is a special character only for regex or regular expressions. So to use a real plus character, we use the backslash and a plus to tell it to use the plus character. But that won't work because the plus comes in before the actual number. So to do that, we need to take this before the actual number, and we put it there. So as you can see, only the second number with a plus or with the country code still matching, but the other one is not matching anywhere or anymore because it doesn't have a plus. So if we try to add a plus in here, it does match. What we want is to tell it this plus is optional. So whether we find this plus or we don't, it doesn't really matter for us. So we only need to match it whether we find it or not. So to tell something like this is going to be an optional thing and not required at all, can take a look. The question mark can do the job for us. So 0 or 1, which means find it or not, this is going to match anyway. So we use the question mark and they're going to match anyway. With a plus or without a plus, both of them gonna match successfully Regex. So the question marks means 0 or 1, which is like an optional thing. So whatever you put in here, a W, any character in here, then you put it like a question mark. The character you put it before the question mark is gonna be optional for the matching. And here we go, we've matched the phone number, but still here we can try to use something like a number very longer than 10 digits will still match. So this is like a problem for us. We don't want this. What we want, the plus here, what you tell it to do, match any digits, how much ever long it is. It doesn't really care about how long that digit string thing is gonna be. It doesn't really matter about this, or the plus don't take care about that. What we can use instead of the plus is going in here, and as you can see, it has like some kind of a curly braces and a number like between that curly braces, which means exactly 5, 2 or more by using a comma in here, which means only match 5 or only match 10. In this case, we need to match only 10 characters. We can put that, it's just gonna match us the 10 characters in here. You can also put 10 or 11 exactly, so to match the code in here, or in here, just gonna, as you can see, it matches this one or matches this one differently. So you can just take this 10 and remove this completely, since you don't need the plus sign here. You only need the actual phone number. So here how you can get the actual phone number. So you can put in here 11, and we can put like a comma at the beginning of that. So just gonna let us know that from 1 or more, just gonna match anyway. So from 1 to 11, we can have 11. It's just gonna like take the first plus sign or the other ones, and it's just gonna match successfully. As you can see, this is a very simple thing. It can match this in a very basic way, in a very simple. It take it very easily as well. So yeah, actually, as you can see, matching a phone number has been successfully done in this. There's like way much more worse scenarios than that, because this is a very simple thing. If we try to like break this regular expression, it's just gonna break for you. It's not 100% like a valid regular expression. You can search on Google for parsing a phone number. It's a really quite like long regular expression you can use for parsing or matching a phone number, but this is just for explaining to you what we can do about it, since this is like an introduction video. Now let's say we have an email in here. How we can do that? So let's say an email, what it does, it have a word, then this is like a constant thing, so we always find the @ on an email, then this is the server name, then we find dots, then we find the extension or the domain extension, .com or .org, whatever. Here let's try to put .org to make both of them different than each other, and let's try to match that. So this word, we can use the forward or the \W. So we can use the \W. As you can see, it matches everything, but we have got the gaps between them. We can use the plus and the gaps disappears, but we're not like matching the @ between those. What we can do is add the @ and it only matches the first string part. It doesn't just complete the domain name and the extension and stuff like that. What we can do is tell it to use the @ as like an optional thing, so don't take it seriously, it's not a required thing, so we're just gonna parse or takes everything in here. The dot is not taking it seriously, so if you can put dot in here, it's not gonna work for you, because this dot is a special or a reserved character from Regex, where you can use a back and a dot, and this is gonna represent the dot character. So here you set a dot and you can tell it the like the actual W plus. And here also what we can do, as this is not going to be an optional anyway, so here we can use also the this again, like we tell it to take the W and take it like 1 or more or 0 or more or something like that. So here also you can tell it to take anything, then anything. So As you can see here, we tell it the dot. If you can try to use the dots, then we use something like /W. It's not gonna match anything since we haven't put it this optional. So you must put this optional thing in order to make it match everything. But what we can do is just gonna remove this, and it's just gonna work for us perfectly. So as you can see, it matches the first one, it matches the second one, and it matches like the name and the server and the .org. But we've got one problem in here, is the only dot. So I have like a regular expression in here. So just rather than typing it, as you can see in here, let me just take this space, and here we go. As you can see, it matches the whole thing, or the whole email, with the dot, with the domain extension. What we're telling it in here to use the word, any word, and this wildcard tell it to use, you can tell, take 0 or more. So 1 or more, or 0 or more. So if like there's a 0 thing, it will take it with no problem. Also, there's like an %, and you can take this and put it like a plus, because 0 or more won't work. If you can put it, you shouldn't put an empty thing in here. As you can see, when you put every empty thing, it won't work for us. So you must put something before the % on an email. Also, it takes this like anything, then takes a word with a wildcard. You can also put this like the plus. So yeah, you shouldn't put the wildcard in there, because it's just gonna give you an error. Whenever you put in here a 0 thing, you're just gonna match it, and you don't want that. You don't want to match a 0 thing. And we have the extension at the end. Here we're telling it the dot, and here we are telling it to use after dot anything and like word or plus characters. And here we go, we are matching an email address. So that was actually, guys, a very simple thing to match an email address and a phone number. Very basic Regex introduction. Hopefully in the next video tutorial, we're gonna go through the IP address and valid dates and stuff like that in a very basic way, to try to explain more of that sheet things and review expression, reserved keywords and what they do and how you can use it eventually and stuff like this. So thank you guys for watching again. I will catch you all in the next video tutorial.